Shit's fucked right now. And I want to change that. And if you're someone who wants to change that, I think you need to ask yourself a question. Are you a what person, a why person, or a how person? That's what I'm going to talk about tonight with you all. I've asked myself that question along the path of trying to make change, where I've hit a lot of walls and I've failed a lot. I've screwed up. I put everything I had in. And I see a lot of other people who are really smart with really good ideas fail. Despite the failure that we all experience when we're trying to make these changes, I really love change because it's awesome when it works. And I've seen it work and I've been part of it. I worked at the city of Asheville for 7 years. I was the director of sustainability, and during that time, we literally changed every street light in the city to LEDs. We saved a ton of money, we saved a ton of energy. It's possible. We also changed every citizen's recycling cart. Remember the small bins we used to have? And now we have these huge rolling carts. Tons of people always say, like, they don't even put their garbage can out anymore because they have all this space for recycling. It's possible to do this change. It's very hard and it can be messy, but it's beautiful. And I feel like I've learned some things, a lot of times through the failures, but sometimes when we figured it out, and that's why I'm here. I feel like if I can share something and some of you or one of you could go faster and more fearlessly forward, then this is worth our 6 minutes and 40 seconds tonight. So as we talk about this, I want you to start and stop. Think about a time you tried to make change. Did it work? Why? So here's what I want us to think about. I think there's 3 types of change makers. They fundamentally do it differently. There's the what people, green triangle, the why, and the how. They approach change making differently. They're all really special ways. They're very important ways. But understanding which one you are, I think, is important to explore. So the what people, those folks figure out what's wrong. They figure out what the problem is. They're the scientists. They're the academics. They're the policy wonks. If we don't know what the problem is, we don't know where to go from there. And it's not easy to do. Their gift, though, the magic that they can bring to change making, is when they go beyond figuring out what's wrong to figuring out what the solution is. Where are we going from here? If you're a what person, how do we take that knowledge of what's really wrong and figure out what's going to make it right? Let's talk about the why people. The why people help us care why it needs to change in the first place. They ask the questions that once we hear, we can't unhear. Why? Why not? The why people are the activists. They're the politicians. They're the advocates. They inspire us to believe in change and to want to change. I'm not a why person. I'm not a what either. And why people, thank you. It is so hard. It takes so much vulnerability to lead with your why. When they do, though, they can coalesce this force that makes them very catalytic. The magic power of the whys is when they roll up together, when they band together. When they can pull their voices together and help each other believe that this is possible, that's when they're unstoppable. Now the how people, my people. The how people, they're the doers, the entrepreneurs, the implementers, the builders. They figure out how to put the why and what to action. They figure out how to take those steps forward given this budget constraint or this political context. Their magic isn't solving the problems along the way. How do we get past this roadblock? How are we going to keep going despite the challenge? I think in the South, how is the most innovative question to ask from my experience. The cultural context of how we do it is difficult. So, who are you? What? Why? How person? Once we figure this out, it's a great first step, but it's actually not enough. Once we figure out who we are, that's the first step for sure, but then we have to still move this 500-pound gorilla, whether it's climate change or the patriarchy. We still need to move things. And my experience is that the how and the what and the why, we actually don't work together. We often compete with each other because we believe that our way of making change is better, and we get in each other's way. We compete for money, we compete for the policy, whatever. But when we work together, we're a magical machine. Because the what people, the triangle, they figure out the what, the solution, the point of that triangle. The how people, they're like, great, I got a plan. Thanks, what person? We're going to put our plan right under this load that we want to move. Then the why people are like, oh, great, thanks for the plan, guys. Let's just use all this force, all the force of the banding together. When they don't do that, it's just someone sitting in an ivory tower or screaming in a megaphone to someone who isn't listening or making plans that go nowhere. When we don't come together, it doesn't work. When we do, it can be radical. We can actually change things. This is the Lake Julian power plant. This powers us here. Duke Energy is decommissioning the coal plant. We see why people in this picture. For every why, there was a how and a what that were part of making this happen. This didn't happen in a silo. It's possible to do it. So I'm going to leave you with this word, start. Start changing, radically and fearlessly. Thank you.